to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It's Tuesday, and we have a show this evening where we look back on the season so far and also dig into our predictions over the first 10 games. I'm sure many of you have taken note of that. So here we go. It's the Highbury Squad. It's International Week, but we're still talking the Arsenal.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition. Wait. Again, the memo. I did not know you were going to wear a hat back to front, Super Kev. By the way.
No, you haven't even introduced me yet, but you know,
okay.
It's all right. Let's get into it. I know you didn't know I was going to wear a hat back to front, and I didn't know you were going to wear a hat back to front. But
it's crazy.
Maybe some synchronizations going on.
It is. Also, I'm a hot mess because I was looking for our predictions, and as you know, it was driving me nuts because I know I wrote it somewhere, and I'm sure there is a squaddy somewhere who took
Matty
note.
K, guarantee. Matty K. I can tell you straight off.
Matty K's
I remember he after I'd done my prediction, he was all over me when he
Well, I found an envelope that I had written on from the state of California, you know, telling me about my taxes, and
oh right, okay, all the best.
And I had it written, where am I had it written on here. Look, I got it all down. Okay,
nice.
So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about the season so far. Super Kev, I did not introduce you properly.
No, but yeah. Well, look, I'll do it again. And squaddies, welcome to the show, and let's go at ease, squaddies.
And in 20 odd minutes, we will be joined by Magic Mike, who will be giving us a reportage of the events at the Palladium last night, the Wenger Dein event. So stay tuned for that as well. Johnny Boy saying he's predicted everything exactly how it happened. If there's no video or it's not set in stone or writing, Kev, it doesn't exist.
No, Sophie. Would he lie? I'm just waiting for Newman to say his bit now, because I'm sure he got everything right too.
Exactly. He was sucking up to you on Twitter today, by the way. He's putting you in. He was immortalizing you as a legend. Very interesting image.
It looked to me he was immortalizing himself. I was just a passenger by the looks of things.
Lone Star is looking forward to a card-free conversation. Hi, Mark. Hi, Demsek. Matty K. K. Marlon. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Rich. Hi, Tammy. By the way, if there's a lot of you have been wondering where Virginia is, Virginia sent me a lovely note. Her grandma has cancer.
Oh, dear.
And she's looking after her grandma, and she wanted to say... she was sending best wishes to little Soph as well to get through her surgery. Nice. And she's taking care of her grandma, Kev. So I thought we could all send out a lot of love to Virginia and her grandma
prayers
as well.
and best wishes for grandma. Obviously, family comes first, doesn't it? And it's nice that she plugs back in with us.
Yes.
Our Arsenal family. But we send all our love to her for sure.
Definitely. She watched the show on replay and it really helped her and warmed the cockles of her heart. And at the end of the show, Kev, I might read a couple of messages. I know a lot of you out there are finding it hard right now. Life isn't easy. There's some tough times. And we've been getting a lot of lovely messages from all of you saying that our show helps you get through the day or the night. And I have to say, you know, myself and Kev also want you to know that you help us. And
100%.
And you are a huge part of us. And as you know, the way we do our show and the style of our show is that you're an extension of us. And so to all of you who have sent those messages, we're here no matter what time of day or night. You can always reach out to us. And, you know, I know how Kev feels about this too.
I just think when you talk about community and us being a family, Soph, it's times like this. It's not when times are going good, Soph. It's when times are going bad is where the family comes to the fore. And we may not be blood, but you know what? We need to look out for each other because nobody else is going to look out for us. So, you know,
and you know
put
what,
a comment or whatever you need.
Exactly. And you just said it brilliantly, Kev. We may not be blood, but we're Arsenal blood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty about it. Our club connects us on so many different levels. And, you know, we appreciate each and every one of you. So always here. And if you want to write privately, the highburysquad@gmail.com, it will come straight to me. And if you ever want me to share anything with Super Kev, I will. No doubt about that. Lone Star, I know, hat to back nonsense. I mean, it's no nonsense. You're absolutely right. We're smashing it here. So here we go. Today's show. Kev will tell you I scrambled to find this bit of paper. It was driving me absolutely nutballs, Super Kev. I'm a Virgo. I file my shit like with precision. Let me just tell you. Actually, you know
you didn't file it that good then, did you?
You know, because you know how Virgos really file their stuff.
Oh, God.
Everything on the periphery, on the outside, looks neat, concise, tidy, and completely impeccable. Open the top drawer of a Virgo desk.
It's all over the place. I know. It's all over the shop.
Oh, so funny. Okay, so I thought it would be a good idea to look back on our season so far and then look on our predictions. So from the time we started, Kev, where we were at the bottom of the table, 0 points, the sky was falling. Man, when you look at that first team that played against Brentford.
So much different, isn't it? It is so much different. The look, the feel, even, do you know what? So if you even read out the names, the squaddies will probably go like that.
Yeah. Here we go, right? So it was 2-0, as we all know. Need I remind everybody? This was our lineup against Brentford. You ready?
Ready.
Tierney, Mari, Ben White, Callum Chambers, Lokonga, Xhaka, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Balogun.
And who was in goal?
Leno right. In goal. On the bench, we had Bellerin, Saka, Maitland-Niles, Holding, Cedric, Nuno, Reece Nelson, El Neni, and KJ Hine. Who dat?
Yeah, young boy. But what does that tell you, Soph? That tells you that we were decimated. We were struggling. And you named the first 3 teams. You know what I mean?
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to send someone out email, the Highbury Squad @gmail here who wants to write to us, Kev. Okay. Got to get that in for We the Medicine. Okay, you want the next one?
Yeah.
Our next game. So
which
our
was
next
Chelsea
game
at home, wasn't it?
Chelsea. So it was Arsenal v Chelsea. Yeah. And our lineup was oopsie daisy.
Leno.
Here we go. Why is it doing that? Cancel. Hold on 1 second.
It was Leno, Chambers, White, Mari, Tierney.
Here we go. Kev, it was Leno, Cedric,
Lokonga. Yeah.
Cedric, Holding, Mari, Tierney, Lokonga, Xhaka, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli up front. So those first 2 games, Kev, we picked a win against Brentford.
Yep, of course.
We both picked a win against Chelsea based on previous season results.
Yeah, and again, one thing we don't know is the team, do we? We don't know the team or whatever. So you just go, you fly off the hip. For obviously would be a lot stronger than that with Partey and Aubameyang and Lacazette and all those guys playing. But they weren't anywhere near it, were they? They weren't anywhere near it. I think the next game, Aubameyang comes in at Manchester City. But you know, we were languishing, so we were struggling, really struggling.
When we talk, Kev, about not having our team, like the team that we really wanted, the squad that we've discovered now, Manchester City, the squad against City was Tierney, Kolasinac, Holding, Chambers, Cedric, Smith Rowe, Xhaka, and of course he got the red card in this game. Odegaard, Saka, and Aubameyang up front, and Leno in goal again. On the bench was Lacazette, Maitland-Niles, Nuno, Mari, Lokonga, El Neni, Ramsdale, Okonkwo, and Martinelli. We both predicted a loss in that game.
Yeah, and did we get beat? God.
We got absolutely smashed
we got pummeled.
smithereens. Yeah.
And you know, Soph, I often go back and look at those 3 games. I'll tell you the reason why I go back and still look at those 3 games, and I look at those games and I look at now. When you look at the teams and the way they play back then, and then you look at now, it's chalk and cheese, Soph. It is chalk and cheese. The mentality, the togetherness, we look disjointed mess. We did. We looked a disjointed mess, and there's no surprise. Obviously, we didn't pick that because we always want the best for Arsenal. But when you actually look at that and you look at no points, no goals, all over the place as a team, it just wasn't good enough. And no wonder, I mean, there was a lot of pressure being put on the manager and the football club, obviously, because of what? Because we were that bad, Soph. We were that bad.
And Kev, the other thing too is not only were we in disarray on the pitch, but also with Arteta really not having the identity of a team and players he wanted. He too was at 6s and 7s with how to play. Is that a fair statement?
Of course it is, Sophie. I keep saying it, and you know, this is my stock statement, isn't it? It's the players. The manager has to prepare the players to go out there to perform. Once the players cross the white line, they have to perform. Of course, there's certain in-game adjustments that can happen, but you have to show the willing, you have to show the toughness, you have to show the fight, etc., 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 to be able to carry that badge. And we weren't seeing it in the first 3 games, Sophie.
No.
And obviously, that first international break coincided with, right up until the end of it, coincided with the end of the transfer window, didn't it?
Yes. Which is why we wanted to wait to make our Premier League and relegation predictions until the transfer window ended, because it makes more. Yeah, exactly. Completely. But we did make our game decisions before the transfer window ended. So you and I had a win for the first game, a win for the second game, a loss for the third game, and then it gets to Norwich, where our team starts to formulate just a little. Hold on. Let
me start loosening up here, because there's some points on the board now. Come on. Hey, and by the way, Universal Greek. It weren't that we were unready. No, don't put that down.
Let me go back up there.
Don't say that we were unready. Yeah, for the start of another season, we were ready. The players weren't good enough.
Was the manager ready, Kev?
Of course, the manager's ready. He doesn't play. He's ready. He sets the plan, but the players couldn't execute the plan. And that is the name of the game, Sophie. That is it. That's football. The manager sets the plan, the players perform. That's it. If you get a breakdown of one, the other tends to not do their job. So
yeah. I love this comment from Johnny Boy too. We were arguing when Arsenal was struggling, just like a real family. Arsenal care for your family. Yeah, I think it's true. It is so true about how, football is like that. I totally see it the same way. You could be at Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner, and there's always one ruck, or someone gets upset about something.
Yeah.
Someone tips their Christmas hat, they've had a few too many, then they pass out watching EastEnders or Only Fools and Horses.
With a full belly.
Or here in the US on Thanksgiving, it's passing out watching the Dallas Cowboys or the Detroit Lions game. And that's just how it works. And then you get up, you have afters, and you go at it again. So yeah, interesting stuff. Kev, we get to Norwich. Hope you guys are enjoying our mini review, because you guys, We're doing what you wanted. A lot of you wrote in and said, especially for Kev, because all of you were saying, Kev had us having like 20, 23 points after the first 10 games. Let's take a look at that. Well, here we are.
Let's take a look, squaddies.
All right. Norwich. Arsenal 1, Norwich 0.
3 points on the board. We didn't play well. But we got over the line.
This was our 4th game of the season, correct, Kev?
That's right, yeah.
We had Ramsdale in goal. Tomiyasu, Ben White, Gabriel Tierney, Lokonga, Maitland-Niles, Pepe, Odegaard, Saka, Aubameyang. You can see the differences there, who played, who didn't. And Kev and I both predicted a win, 3 points. Kev, it wasn't exactly a beautiful game, but again, a little bit like what we've talked about, Arsenal finding a way to win ugly sometimes, even against a poor team like Norwich. Winning was the most important thing in that one, wasn't it? Having been rock bottom of the league.
It was. We were struggling for confidence because obviously the first 3 games. This was the first time this team had played together. Let's be honest. You know, there's new additions. There's a new goalkeeper in there. You know, there's certain players who are playing their first games with everyone. So, and against a Norwich side, obviously we're struggling as well, but it's a free hit for them, not for us. The pressure's all on us. So the fact we got over the line and we started to see, I think there was a couple of last-ditch challenges in our box to deny Norwich equalising, was the sign of things to come, wasn't it? A clean sheet was really good.
This is where Kev crept away a little bit from me. Game number 5 of the season, Burnley versus the Arsenal. Super Kev goes for the win. I went for a draw. The result was Burnley 0, Arsenal 1. Our team, which really starts to shape now, minus 2 players, maybe 3 because one of an injury. We got Ramsdale, Tierney, Gabriel White, Tomiyasu, Thomas Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Emil Smith-Rowe, Pepe, and Aubameyang. Kev, that was another scraper. Let's be honest.
Big challenge.
A little bit like Ryan says, yeah, Arsenal are a project. And in these first few games, the project is evident to see, is it not, Kev?
Of course it is. You know, we get questioned about going to places and it being tough. Can we get over that hurdle? At the end of the day, you're going to Burnley and we know how tough it is at Burnley. We know how tough it is. But the key is go in there, making a good account of yourself, and however you do it, come away with the 3 points. And we done that. And you know what we saw there? So we saw a lot of the camaraderie coming together at the end.
Yes.
Ramsdale making a really big difference. Gabriel, Ben White, everybody coming together. We also got told Ben White's crap in the air and Burnley are going to sort us right out. It didn't happen.
Yep. And you know what, Kev? This definitely, I think, for me, was the turning point. Burnley play with a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of physicality. They've been a yo-yo team for us. We've seen players sent off there previously. I believe it was Xhaka. That was the throat game, right? Was that the throat game or no?
That was us. That was at the
Emirates. Yeah. So I also wanted to put this comment up for you from our good friend of the show, Mr. Gooner Russ. Super Kev is glass half full, man. I am half empty and Judges is just a half.
Yeah. Gooner Russ, it was great seeing you on Sunday, mate. I tell you. Listen, keep the missus out of my business. If I'm protected, you keep your missus out of my business. You're there having a beer with me. Come on, mate. You can't be having your missus leaving messages on here for me.
Gooner Russ.
And that's for Judges, yeah. Half is about right. Just a half.
Don't forget the pinky.
And the pinky, yeah. Yeah, the pinky.
Gooner Russ, your missus was in here giving Kev crap last night about keeping you up a little bit too late. But let's be honest, he had your back. He had your back big time. So all good there. All right. Burnley versus Arsenal 0-1. We then move on to our next game, Super Kev.
Which was going to be potentially The game where
Well, we were going to get killed.
If it went wrong, he was getting the sack, remember?
Correct. Because at this point, and I know she was having a laugh. We were having a laugh with her too, mate.
No, we know.
Worries.
We know. We're messing with you, Russ.
You know what we're like here, Banter FC, as they call football fans these days. Kev, I said, we were bottom of the table. We then had 6 points. Mm-hmm. But many of us said, can't lose to Tottenham. If you lose to Tottenham and then you lose your next few games, you got to go. Yeah. So we go into the North London derby. And this was really the turning point of the season. There were transitional points, but in terms of pure elation, joy, fans getting stuck in, the euphoria, doesn't matter where you are in the table, what league you're in, when you beat your rivals and you beat the scum across the road 3-1. Sorry, Ethelston. I know you're in the house this evening, our token Spurs fan, who's very
on that day, you know it. We're scum and you're scum, but you're bigger scum on that day to us, Ethelston. Come on.
That's Kev that said that out loud, not me.
Yeah,
right?
I said it. Of course, what? Of course, I said it. What do you mean? Listen, if you're going to be coming in here on Derby Day, you know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. And as Lone Star says, losing to Spurs is not allowed, period. Like ever. Absolutely ever. And yes, the real test will come against Liverpool, Everton, Man U away. But didn't they say the real test would also come against Tottenham and Aston Villa and Leicester? So Arsenal were continually, like a student in school, under test periods, Super Kev.
Yep. Of course, very, very difficult hurdles, we know. And this young squad have to come together and try and get over them time and time again, Sophie. And all they can do, Sophie, is get through that test. That's all they can do. Yeah. And wow, did they? They made us very proud.
Let's see. Football Capo will take a quick breather to answer a couple questions. Kevin and Soph, should we be worried that we've beat Spuds, Norwich, Villa, all of which axed their managers? We did that. We helped them do that. Let's take a different spin on it, shall we?
Football Capo, what difference does that make? That's not our problem. It's not our problem.
Also, Super Kev, I'd like to add the caveat that Villa were a lauded team for the last 2.5 seasons. Everyone took the piss out of us for not signing Buendia and said their signings were better than ours, and that Villa are now such a big club, they were going to sign Emile Smith-Rowe, and they vilified us on social media too. The social media monkeys came out. And then Tottenham, they were superb after 2 games against Nuno. I even said, hello.
3 games. Top of the league, remember?
They won the league in August. Yes.
Won the league.
Yeah.
And you even jumped on the bandwagon a little bit, Soph, didn't you?
I'm going to admit it. You know me. I will drink that sauce when it's served up. I said, Nuno has an identity. How's he got Spurs playing like this in such a short period of time? What is this? Because when you see our team being crap and we've got 0 points after 3 games and you see them, they light a different kind of fire, Kev.
Of course they do. But look, of course they do, 100%.
Yeah. But that team that day was Rambo in goal, Rambo 2.0. Now we're talking. Tomiyasu, Ben White, Gabriel Tierney, Thomas Xhaka got killed in that. Let's not forget, everyone was talking about us not passing the ball back or throwing back into Watford. Meanwhile, Spurs, was it Lucas? Mora that tanked Xhaka. Mm-hmm. They went on to score. No one had any complaints about that. Xhaka out until January because of that. We had Saka, Odegaard, Smith-Rowe, and Aubameyang, Super Kev, in that match.
And we absolutely played them off the park first half. Played them off the park. 3-0 up at halftime. Sophie, the game's over. Yeah, we had let them back in the game a little bit in the second half, and Ramsdale had to do his job and make a world-class save. But you know what? They deserve nothing, and we rightly came out 3-1 winners. Yep. Rightly came out and made us very proud that day, Sophie, because we saw the team actually come together and perform when they needed to.
I have an issue with this whole thing, people wanting this Vlahovic or whatever his name is.
Vlahovic, yeah.
I have an issue, we'll talk about that another day, Kev. In between that, also, we beat Wimbledon 3-0 in the EFL Cup, boys and girls. We get to the Brighton game. Kev, which had a lot of people upset and, getting a little bit antsy again, should I say. The lineup in that match was similar. Ramsdale, Tierney, Gabriel, White, Tomiyasu, Lokonga, Thomas, Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Aubameyang. There's a trend building here, which I'm going to get to. But Kev, that was a bit of a tricky game. We managed to escape. And by the way, in the Tottenham game, Kev and I didn't tell you our points. We both said we'd win 3-3. And in this game against Brighton, we also both called a win and said 3 points. But we walked away with 1, Super Kev.
In the end, Sophie, we were very happy to get a point. Let me tell you. We didn't perform on the day. The conditions were poor. Same for both teams. Brighton played better than us on the day. Let's be honest, they did. They played better than us on the day. That back five kept us in it. It really kept us in it. And, fair play to that back five. Yet another clean sheet, Sophie. And as you're probably going to get onto it, that clean sheet is important. We take the point, and then it was another international break after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, definitely. Yeah. And that was the game where everyone blamed the weather, Matty K. You are correct. I'm getting in trouble with Gooner, so I have no idea why, but I'm sure I'll find out later on WhatsApp.
He wants that question answered, that's why.
Well, let me know which question, mate, and we will definitely answer it.
Should we bust the bank on Vlahovic?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a bit later on this week because I have an issue with 2 players, and one is him and the other is a Real Madrid player who's a complete flop signing at Real Madrid and has been injury prone. And it rhymes
I'll
with
answer
Jovic.
it for you, Russ.
Go on.
Yes. Go and get him. Don't mess around because Lacazette won't be here.
More than what's his name from Sevilla?
El Nasri.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So slow, those leagues, Kev. So slow. Serie A, I mean...
Vlahovic has got size. I know El Nasser's got size, but he can play up top as a number 9 as well. It's important for us.
Absolutely no Jovic for me. I would rather either one of the other two, 100%. Yeah.
Jovic, he's looked really poor at Real Madrid. I know he scored a lot of goals in Germany, but I haven't really seen anything in Real Madrid. But hey,
I have to check on Marcus Thuram. Is he still injured? I have to go back. I'll have to ask Kevin Hatchard, our good friend of the show. We'll have him on to talk about a lot of this stuff as well, you guys. Okay, exactly, boy. Please, no Jovic. All right, just a couple minutes before we bring in Magic Mike to give us an update on last night's shenanigans. Kev, we then go to Crystal Palace. You and I predicted a win again on this one.
No, they come to us. Yes, they come to us. And this was the first game after the international break, wasn't it? And everybody obviously came back, and it was a Monday night game. We were all cock-a-hoop expecting 3 points, Sophie, and we started very well. For 20 minutes, we were on the front foot, and then, Soph, it's like somebody unplugged us. We didn't have energy. Crystal Palace were all over us, especially second half. And we gave away 2 goals, 2 poor goals through our midfielders. And we ended up, Lacazette had to come on and actually, that could be a turning point for us, Soph. Us going behind against Crystal Palace and Lacazette coming on and linking up with Aubameyang and that connection. Obviously, we scored a goal and we get back in it. Finished the game 2-2. It's like a defeat. We were all a bit demoralised. And then we said, right, because it was the Friday night game after that against Villa, wasn't it?
Well, we got so lucky with the Lacazette goal at the very end. The team was pretty much the same again, except Tierney and Odegaard were playing and Pepe was playing in that match. Kev and I predicted another win, so that's 3 points for us. And yes, Kev, the next game that we get to for the Arsenal is Aston Villa. A lot of folks were predicting that we would lose this one too. We both went for a draw against Villa.
What was I thinking? Jeez.
I know. Let me make sure I've got it right. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Villa would be the 1-1 because the last game we played was against Leicester, Watford. No, I got it wrong. We both went for a win against Villa and a draw against Leicester.
Oh, all right, fair enough. That sounds a bit more. That sounds a bit more like me. You know, away from home, maybe you could get a point or whatever. But hey, bring it on, so bring it on.
Bring it on. Okay, so then we get to the Leicester game where we both predicted a 1-1, Kev, and we absolutely smashed them. And I think we predicted a 1-1 because, you know, we had, you know, I think we've done well against Leicester, but of course they've done well in the Premier League too. And maybe caution for both of us.
Yeah, of course we know what we're getting into at Leicester. We know that they're a good side and they beat anybody on their day. We know that. And go in there, maybe just a little bit of caution that, you know, they can score and we score one, but probably won't win the game. So that's why we went probably a little bit conservative. But hey, I'll take being wrong on that one for 3 points, by the way. I'll take being wrong on that one.
Okay. Then we get to Watford and we both predict a win against Watford. I'm not sure if I'm missing a game here somewhere in my maths, Kev, but we both had a victory against Watford and that was a hard-fought game. And one, I think that of all the games and of all the difficult, tough, physical tests, this was the one, in addition to Burnley for me, where we came through as a group, as a unit, as a team that really showed a new wave style of Arsenal that can really dig deep and fight the cause when needed.
Yep, 100%. And the fact Thomas Partey weren't playing and Ainsley Maitland-Niles came in beside Lokonga, I thought that was pretty significant because we didn't really lose any impetus in the center of the pitch. We know Partey's a different player in there, so we maybe not had the creativity of a Partey, but we didn't lose power in there. I thought Maitland-Niles put himself about and got on the ball, made challenges, etc., and performed pretty well. So it was a really, really good win for us. There was a feel-good factor around the Emirates on Sunday. And to get over the line, we should have beat them 2 or 3. Let's be honest. We should have beaten them 2 or 3 goals. But, you know, maybe last season we draw that game or even lose that game. Now we're getting over the line in these games where it's not all going our way. So that was a really good point to get over the line in.
All right, guys. So that is our quick review of our first 10 games in the Premier League. Why is there 11? What game am I missing, Kev? I'm missing one game. Am I missing a game? Do you guys see me missing a game? I have 1, 2, 3.
Well, Watford was the 11th
4,
game.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. Okay. So at the end of our early season predictions, way back in August, Super Kev had the Arsenal on 23 points and I had the Arsenal on 20 points. Our current position is 5th in the league, matches played 11, points garnered 20. When we talked about our points, a lot of you said, you are crazy.
Come on, Sophie, listen, and I don't want the squaddies running and hiding. I don't want you running and hiding. Remember, it was deluded Kev again, wasn't it, Soph? Deluded Kev.
It is. And someone's saying Leeds. Leeds was in the cup, you guys. That wasn't a league game.
Leeds
that
was a
cup game. So, for all those people that come at me, especially with my Arteta agenda, okay, 20 points. Who's bang on? That's right. Moi. I don't brag, but you know what? I'm coming at you guys who come at me about Mikel Arteta. I love my team. I want them to win, and I give credit where credit is due. A lot of you called this legend here deluded for suggesting that we would have 23 points. Barring a couple of errors, he was bang on as well.
No, Sophie, let's get it right here, darling. Let's get it right here. After 10 games, we both had 17 points. There you go. So we're close. We are very close. After 11, we'd have said we'd beat Watford, won't we? So I'll give you that one that you know, but
I will go back and check my maths. I mean, Magic Mike is waiting in the house. We can bring him in real quick to join us on this. Magic Mike, is my math off or is it on? I'm just asking.
Your math or your maths?
My maths.
You know what? My math used to be my strong point, and after this trip, I don't even know what a number is anymore.
Do you need rehab?
Yeah, but they try to send me there, but I keep saying no.
By the way, Sophie, I've got a bone to pick with Magic Mike.
Uh-oh.
I thought we ended on good. I thought we ended on good terms.
Now hold on, Magic Mike. Remember when I was making my predictions and you came in the comments and you were giving it plenty. Well, you were.
Because the way I figured it, after 10 games, you had us on 58 points, and that's when my maths were
and that
working.
don't work.
I'm like, that's pretty optimistic. It was just win. I don't know. I enjoyed it. Look,
just
I love
win,
the
baby.
positivity.
I mean, I've got it here, Kev. This is the beautiful thing about still having pen and paper.
Right. Pen and
like
paper.
I said, state of California, taxes envelope right here. Mike will know a lot about that.
None of this fancy electronic.
Look at that.
I wanted 23 points.
And
I got
had
17. Yeah.
And at the very top of this, you can see it says KC and SN right there.
Yep. I wanted 23 points, definitely. We didn't get them, but you know what? If you'd have told me at the time, we'd have had 17 points after 10 games, I would have taken it. That's
amazing. And the truth is that a lot of people did think that we were being crazy after we predicted that, which is insane. So I'm going to say well done to the Highbury squad for their mystic predictions. Super Kevin Campbell. And
we beat the squaddies, so we done the squaddies.
I ushered the team through these last few results.
You have, Kevin.
Yes, in beer especially. Yes, well done, Magic.
Look, I try to help the local economies everywhere I go. Some people get battered everywhere they go.
Yes.
Other people help the local economies.
That's hilarious. You know what? The truth is that this is what we want. All of us, really. We want our team to be in this position. Who'd have thunk it? Someone just said, I think it was our Spurs fan, who I love. He shows up every night. Ethelston, credit to you, mate. You keep coming back every single night. He said,
Did I run into you at the stadium last week? I hope I didn't interview you because you seem like a nice person.
At the Tottenham, if you haven't seen Mike's...
That is, by the way, I weren't going to watch it. And Magic said to me, you've got to watch it. And I've watched it, and it is unbelievable, squaddies. I'm telling you, you've got to watch it.
I'm glad you went back and watched it because I'm like, I know the first 6 minutes is just me saying, what am I doing here? But then it gets good.
It gets good after that, Michael.
The troll in me really came out to play, and I think it's an interesting watch. You'll want to see it.
Okay, hopefully Ethelston wasn't part of that tirade, but it was all fantastic. Magic Mike's presence in London helped. It is true. He brought the energy and the love. Right, Mike, tell us what happened last night.
I mean, look, I've gone back and watched your show from last night, and now I know what you meant when you texted me. You went in a little bit on Arsene Wenger. To me, last night is about what makes this club different than other clubs. Because you can say whatever you want about Arsene Wenger. Look, my tipping point was probably later than most. My tipping point was actually 2017, about a month or two before we won the FA Cup, when we gave Rashford a dream debut with a brace, and then came home to play Swansea, I think, a few days later, and just didn't show up for the game. And that's, for me, it's when the manager doesn't command the respect and fear from his players anymore. And that's when I thought that happened. Of course, I'm always wrong, and we went on and won the FA Cup that year. But, I think my personal feelings, just as a caveat before we get into last night about Arsene Wenger, is that, I actually missed most of his great years. My reverence for him doesn't come through personal experience, but more just knowing the club and its history and anecdotal discussions and, obviously knowing the history of the club and what happened in those first 10 to 12 years. But I also think that he got a lot of disrespect, and a lot of people were in no-win situations where you could go back and blame everything on one person or another. You could blame it on Kroenke, the board, the vacuum of power, Arson himself. The further we get from it, and hopefully when we return to top 4 challenging for the title, which hopefully is just around the corner, I think the pain and the anger will start to subside. But the event itself, I mean, the number of luminaries, Kevin, where were you? Yeah, you were the only person, I think, to ever play for Arsenal that wasn't there on the other night.
No, but that's not true, because that was the Invincible team. That wasn't, that wasn't. I'd left the club.
Era,
yeah, and
that's true. That's true. That's true.
Out of respect for those guys, you let them have their moments. Sure, they're an incredible squad.
That's true. That's true. The Alan Smiths weren't there. Lita. I mean, that's true. That event was last Friday night.
That's right.
Which was fantastic. This one was about the Invincibles and the double winners, and then some tough words about how things ended up. But just to be in that room, look, it was expensive to go. It was for a good cause. It was for charity.
How much was the ticket?
Do I have to say what I spent on the ticket?
You're a reporter. You're reporting.
Was it $5?
It would no. The VIP ticket was $5. This was about $1.50.
Right.
But I'm sitting in the stalls. Colin Lewin's a block or a row away and waving at me because
he remembers you. He
remembers in the podcast, and I couldn't see very well, so I'm the ass who's like Colin's waving to him, and I'm not waving back. But I made up for that. But for everyone from Colin all the way forward to players to coaches, David Moyes was there to show his respect. But just about the entire Invincible team. So many people that play. I mean, Philip Senderos was there. I don't know that he was really in the same category as everybody else. Yeah, I wasn't.
But he was part of it, wasn't he?
He was the most. Does he still see Drogba in his nightmares? Maybe.
Yeah, he looked a little shell shocked.
Sorry, Kev.
Still bald. But I honestly, what I kept saying afterwards, because the afterwards was crazy and unexpected. But I kept saying that there aren't many clubs, and whether it's because of the manager or because of the tradition of the club. I mean, does Man City have an event or an event honoring? I mean, it's like, let's bring Craig Bellamy and Stephen Ireland on the stage. Yeah, everyone, let's give it up.
But you can't compare Man City. I think this is the thing that people don't realize. Man City are a small club doing big things with new money. They don't have the history. Compare it to Liverpool or United, who have these moments.
Liverpool, United are the only kinds of clubs where an event like this could potentially occur. And given that it was more about an era and a person or a duo in this case, there's really only maybe one other club that could have had an event like this.
Was Thierry Henry there?
Thierry Henry was there by video remotely. He was not there. Bergkamp was not there, but just about everybody else was. And it is just there's energy in the house when you're sitting in there. So again, I mean, you could choose to look at the event based on exactly what words were said and analyzing whether you feel that they were true, self-serving. Yes, he's in a promotional mode right now. To me, it was just interesting to hear from the man. It was interesting to see the interplay between him and David Dein, because honestly, David Dein was gone before I kind of reconnected with the club for my second tour of duty, which will never end. But the little break I had to take when I came back to the States, I missed David Dein altogether. And it was interesting to hear his viewpoints. You can pick each one of them apart, and I did my best to try to kind of tweet out things. I mean, I probably looked like an ass sitting there in the crowd with my phone the whole time, but I was enjoying it and trying to kind of get a sense of near quotes or quotes that were coming out of them, just because there were some new nuggets in there. There were some things that were interesting and some things that were left unsaid that probably were more impactful than the things that were said.
So Sol Campbell wasn't there. Ashley Cole wasn't there.
Sol wasn't there. He was discussed. Obviously, the signing of Sol Campbell was
that was an interesting part of the discussion and the reveal and the meeting at 1:00 in the morning. So no one kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah, they would be walking around David Dean's garden in Totteridge at like 1-2 o'clock in the morning because Saul
Very
was
lovely area in London, by the way, you guys.
Beautiful.
Saul was. I mean, it's no Knightsbridge, but I get it. Saul was very protective of getting found out. Not everyone can live in Knightsbridge.
Hold on, Gog.
Hold your hands up to this guy. I mean, come on. Magic. It's not called magic for nothing.
I find it Thierry Henry wasn't there for obvious reasons. I think it's because of the Daniel Ek thing appearing via video.
But there was a bit of a love in, though. I mean, that might have been, that probably is the reason that he wasn't there. Although this wasn't a Kroenke run event. I mean, this was a charity for Arsene, promotion for Arsene, charity for David. So I don't know that really would have kept him away. Vieira was there. And he's loosely
because he's managing Crystal Palace in London, and it's an easy trip to the Palladium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to sound like what's the word? Twisted? Is it not twisted? What's the right word, Magic Mike? I don't want to sound
toxic.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, go on then, Mike. Go on.
I'm kidding.
I just, I'm more interested in hearing what David Dein has to say, to be honest with you, because Arsene Wenger has talked a lot over the last few. And in his book, he never really revealed a lot, but yet he goes on TV and he has these events where he continues to talk about things he coulda, shoulda, woulda done. And I'm just finding it all a little bit tiresome. Do I adore what he did at the Arsenal? Of course I did. He gave us some of the best memories of our lives. But he also inherited a back five that were absolutely legendary. Then he rebuilt a team, bringing in players like Vieira, Petit, Silva, Adu, Sol Campbell, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and was absolutely insanely insatiable as a manager and as a team. We were the bread and butter of world football, let alone the Premier League. But then the last 10 years, the FA Cup saved his legacy. We were when we went to the Emirates, we were very average Premier League team, but somehow he managed to keep plugging away, getting us into the Champions League, which was the plan every single season, not to win it, just to be in it for the financial rewards. And he pocketed a shit ton of money being manager of the Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, and his statements.
Yeah, Rioch bought in Bergkamp. Thank you, Newman, for correcting me.
Well, Rioch did bring in Bergkamp.
Well, actually, David Dein did. Let's be honest.
He claimed, and this may inflame and infuriate people, but I mean, his answer to the questions about, and it's weird because I've heard that there were quotes and leaks coming from his movie or whatever that he said he should have left earlier and regrets not leaving earlier, but that was not at all the case in the discussion on last night. I mean, he basically said, I've never negotiated a contract. I was offered a contract. I accepted it. And I believe that contracts should be fulfilled.
Did you learn anything new that you didn't know previously?
About Arsene specifically? I mean, I learned a lot about David Dein. Obviously.
That's to me where the most interesting thing lies. I mean, I want to hear what he has to say. Fascinated by him.
Yeah, I mean, he told some good stories. One of the stories he told that it's a funny story about the story, but he told the story, and if you saw my tweets last night, you'll have seen this. But he was talking about that invincible team, and he said that one of the players, I think it was either Vieira or maybe it was Lehman. I don't remember exactly who it was, but they used to stand in the same order in the tunnel every single game. And Kev, maybe you can tell me whether this is true or not, but not that you were in the tunnel at the time.
No, but it happened with me. I was always behind Lee Dixon most of the time.
Right. So they would stand in the exact same order, and when the opponent would come out into the tunnel and stand next to them, they would do this pre-organized routine where Vieira would turn around and say, "We got this," and then the next person would turn around and say, "We got this," and it would go through the entire line, and then they would jointly look over across the tunnel to the other team, and you could see them.
You could hear the knees knocking.
They needed a diaper change at that point,
yeah.
And the game was already, in the bag, and everyone's like clapping at that story. It's like, oh, this is really cool, and again, I'm name dropping here a little bit, but I come at the intermission, which was right after that. Colin Lewin comes out, and we greet each other again, and he's like, He's like, that story is complete bullshit. he's like, at best, that's an exaggeration of what happened. They probably just looked at each other and said, he's like, but that never happened. He's like, that is not what happened. So I don't know who to believe, but on a stage in front of 2,500 people, salivating at every word coming out of their mouths, it sounded like a pretty good story.
Well, yeah, we're going to be doing a special show on this, and you'll see it in the coming days and stuff. But in all, a good love fest, and lots
Good
of
night sounds.
good.
It was a good love fest. It was. I mean, the charity intermission portion was at Clive Anderson, had the house rolling around. I mean, he was just hilarious, and they raised a ridiculous amount of money. 45,000 quid someone bid for a dinner with Arsene, David Dein, and you and 3 guests. A dinner.
Wow.
Now I would actually probably eat 45,000 pounds worth of food, both financially and in weight. But but for most people, that's a lot of money to spend on a dinner. But it went to a good cause, and it was a love fest. Unlike the '89 thing, which cost 30 quid to get in, and it was a little cultured because of the classical music at the Barbican, but there was a lot more like Arsenal people there for that event. This was just very respectful, very much just wanting to show their respect for the legend, and again, as we get further and further away from the mire that I think he and the club allowed him to leave us in, the more that just kind of becomes part of history, and you remember the positives. At least that's what I hope happens. I think the vast majority of people in the fan base will ultimately feel that way, as long as we don't kind of turn back around and continue this downward spiral and get relegated in the next few years. So,
all right. Well, good report from Magic Mike. I'm sure
someone picked me up from the airport. I do not want to go home, so. I'm staring at Terminal 2 right now of Heathrow and realizing that this trip is terminal, and that sucks.
You sound a little more demure than you usually do. You've had an epic 3.5 weeks in.
It's a month. It ended up being a full month.
Is your wife still with you? Just asking,
She will be when she sees what I've brought home from Harrods.
Yes, that's right, Magic.
You know what? That's not even fair, because that makes her seem materialistic. But no, she's
no. Don't make her seem materialistic. You're the materialistic one. What are you talking about?
Well, I had a lot of non-materialistic times while I was here, and I'm a memory person. I'm an experienced person. Yeah. I don't need things or want things. I just want to be able to look back, and I documented this trip maybe a little too well, to the point where I was living through my phone and camera at times. But hopefully, and there's a lot of like vlogs and experiences I'm going to put together. I've released some of the game day ones because those were so much fun. I just wanted to get them out there. But stay tuned to the Gooner Pod channel, because I'm going to be, when I find the time, I'm going to be editing some stuff together. And if you like living vicariously through other people, then you would have enjoyed my last month here, and I'm just lucky to be able to do it.
Magic, can I just ask you a question? Because obviously you come over probably once a year, and you cram so much into this month. Now, obviously, for squaddies who are watching, who obviously they're in England, they could go to the games, they watch the games over here. What does it mean to you to be able to link up with all the guys and girls and go to the games and just be on Arsenal soil, as it were?
Well, I mean, you've touched on exactly what this is about. I mean, when I first started coming back, we would coordinate a trip over here with anywhere from it was either an official Arsenal America road trip where everything was preordained and 50 people would come. And then it started to become, well, I got like 6 or 7 good mates from America, and we'll all time it so we're here either at the same time or overlapping. And my mates Tom and Joey and Andy and it would just be that, like, we're all over here together and we'll meet some other people. Now it's just I come over and most of the people that I'm here to see are already here.
Yeah.
Or they're, coming in from Wales or from Northern Ireland. I mean, the collection, the days before and after at the pub, honestly, I mean, the standing at the I got to the Tollington every game day, the moment they opened, because I wanted to, I mean, that's on the concourse after the game. Lee and I are waiting for Kev to descend from his Liam Brady-ness. And then when I saw how Natalie dressed he was, I mean, my God. But that's, I can't get enough of that. Just seeing old faces that that you've seen before, or people that you've only met on the internet, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll come out, we'll have a beer, and we have a beer and a hug and chat a little bit. I mean, I know playing for the Arsenal and playing for Everton, you have gotten, and I know you never take it for granted. You are humble, and every time you're like, I'm so lucky I get to do this. I'm not comparing the two, mind you, but it is cool to be able to connect with people who know you because they know how much love you have for Arsenal, and just kind of chat and be like, this is the same person that that is joking around and being silly.
That I see on the internet, that I connect with. And I met some amazing people while I was there. I reunited with some great people, and that is why I've always tried to focus on the lifestyle of Arsenal rather than the game to game. I mean, you have to talk about tactics. You have to predict the first 10 games of the season. That's all part and parcel of what we do as podcasters. But for me, it's just, I put out a tweet that in a nutshell, it said, if all you care about is wins and losses, you're missing the point. Enjoy the wins, they're great, but when you lose, enjoy your family, meaning the Arsenal family, because that will make the tough times a lot easier. And so again, I'm getting very sappy, but it's just a dream come true to be able to follow this football club in person and have this connection. And I think the internet and you guys and podcasts like yours have given a platform for people to be able to do that, even if they're not able to or in a position to to come over and do that. And the community is strong in multiple possible ways of access. So
well, look, almost 500 in live chat. Hit that like button if you love
hit
what
it,
Mike
everyone.
says.
Come on, hit it.
Can I get in on a Vinny?
Do you want Vinny on your head? Okay, here we go.
Right there. Probably there we go. Come on.
There you go. Come on. Hit it. Magic. Go on. Magic. Hit it.
250. Come on.
We have a bow tie Vinny now that we'll reveal on Thursday as well. It's very cute.
Oh, Vinny.
Sing a tune. Let's do it, Mike. Oh, we should do a little, Frank Sinatra style tune together about the Arsenal. It's wonderful to have you on, and thanks for sharing your stories.
You didn't notice I was wearing my cap front to back.
Matty K said that he loved your outfit, and he also thought it's because you're in the airport before a flight, so he called it your pajamas. Which, by the way, I mean, if we could all dress like that every day, fly better. I mean, come on, doesn't get better.
I can't wear this on the plane because they get angry usually when it's like advertising, but. Yeah, and last night I was the one guy in the entire Palladium wearing like a bright blue shirt. But like day 29 of 30, the opportunities to wear clean clothes are very, very, So it could have been red with beer on it, or blue and clean, and I went with the blue and clean. But I did regret it a little bit.
Well, look, we love that you've joined us, and it's been a great show. Kev, we've gone through our first 10 games, and let's just leave it at that. I'm not going to brag anymore.
No, hey, please don't. Please don't, Soph.
Mike, I'm just going to drink out of my Harrods mug, seeing as you've got something for the missus.
I like it. Oh, man.
Us girls love Harrods.
I got one for you, and now I realize, what do you get for the woman who has everything?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's always something.
3 points.
There's
you get 3 points next game.
Super Kev. Always knows
3
how to treat the ladies. All right, Kev. Tomorrow, Kev will not be here. I will be here. And I will be joined by Demian, who will be returning to the show. We'll talk a little bit about everything. Kev will be back Thursday and Friday. And of course, we've got Kev Says on Friday. Kev, why don't you take us out? Vinny will come on the show one day. He's made an appearance, but he'll make an appearance soon enough.
I'm gonna say to the Magic Man just underneath us that, listen, Mike, it was always a pleasure seeing you, and it's great to hear your stories, and thanks for being you. And I hope you have a really safe journey back, and you don't leave it as long next time, because we always love seeing you in person. In and around the Arsenal.
I got something in the works. Something in the works that I can't bring it up quite yet to my wife, but I got an idea.
Good man. Good man. Good man. Good man. Sophie, as always, hostess with the mostest, gives us the platform. So clever, everybody in the background. This lady is so clever. So Sophie, I think the world of you anyway. You know that. And you squaddies for always turning up, whether good, bad, indifferent, or full of yellow cards. It's all good. So what I will say is enjoy your evening, your day, your afternoon, whatever time it is. And always, squaddies, I salute you. And at ease, everybody.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.